Hi, it's Steve here from Broomhouse Garden and Space and Broomhouse Hub. Here today to talk about the sort of kit that you'll need if you want to do some growing this growing season. Let's start off with the bigger tools. So this first one, a good spade. Now a spade, different from a shovel. Spade tends to be flatter with no edges. Shovel has lips at the side. The shovel is for scooping up material and moving sand or gravel or soil, and it doesn't have much of an edge to it. The spade has a bit of a cutting edge, and that's used for digging into the soil. Next, we're going on to a fork. Again, this is a good digging tool. It's used for loosening up the soil and breaking up clumps. Okay, so this is a hoe. This has got a cutting edge along here, and the idea is that the hoe, you can use it to weed your garden, and you're basically slicing the weeds. So you use it like this, just sort of like scraping across the surface of the soil. Obviously we haven't got any weeds here at the moment, but you can imagine the weeds being cut at the surface of the soil. It's also good if you just want to break up the surface of the soil, if you don't want to dig too deeply. Just using the hoe will loosen up the top sort of like inch or couple of centimeters of soil if you just want to be sowing some seeds or something like that. Next up, we'll move on to the rake. So you can use the rake to break up the surface of the soil. You can also use it to move soil around if you need to move soil around your bed, or if you've got piles, you can use it backwards and forwards just to level the pile out. Next, we'll move on to some hand tools. This is a trowel and a hand fork, and this is if you need a bit of closer work, typically on your knees. Again, the fork is for breaking up the soil. It's also good for weeding in a similar way to the hoe. If you want to just take out some really small newly grown weeds, then just turning the fork over and using it like this, you'll find that you loosen your weeds up. Or if you've got deeper weeds digging into the soil. The trowel is really useful when it comes to planting. Just digging a quick hole, and imagine taking a plant out, planting that in. Or if you're wanting to fill your pots, the trowel, that's when that becomes really useful. Next up, we've got some secateurs. If you've got any fruit bushes or any woody shrubs, then these are really useful when it comes to pruning. These come in two different sorts. You have your bypass secateurs, where the blades move past each other to cut, or you have anvil secateurs, where you have one blade and one flat piece, and the blade sort of like clamps against the flat piece. The pots come in a variety of different shapes and sizes. This is nowhere near the smallest, but you know, you can go from this sort of size, which you use predominantly just for starting plants off, You can work up in size all the way up to something this size and beyond. This is 25-30 litre pots. You can go up to 75 litre pots. When you get to this size, it's more for things that are going to be grown for at least a season, possibly even longer, you know, a couple of years. You can have perennials growing in pots that size. We have some propagator trays. You need to start seeds inside, and the likelihood is that you'd use a propagator tray. The lid keeps warmth and moisture in, and obviously, yeah, it's see-through, so it lets the sunlight in. If you want to grow seeds individually in your seed tray, then you'd use these things. Sometimes these come in a 4 tray size. The idea here is that you'd have your compost in here, and you could sow 1 seed per module, and then it's easy just to grow the seeds on and have 1 plant per module that you can then transplant. It's also useful to have compost, and compost comes in lots of different varieties. You can have your multi-purpose compost that can be used for a variety of different things. If you're starting a lot of seeds in trays or pots, it's probably worthwhile to invest in some seed compost. I've got some seed compost here. It's a lot finer than multi-purpose compost. It doesn't have lots of big bits in it, and that's a whole lot better when you want to be starting a lot of seeds inside in trays or in pots. When you're buying compost, try and get peat-free compost. The extraction of peat does have quite a detrimental effect to the environment, so wherever possible, try and get peat-free. So another useful thing is some seed labels. If you're sowing a lot of seeds, you want to keep record of what you've sown and where you've sown it. So seed labels like these are really invaluable to do that. If you don't want to buy plastic seed labels, a great alternative is a lollipop stick, or just make your own. Yeah, anything that you can just stick in the ground with a bit of writing in, just to tell you what seeds you've sown when and where. Finally, of course, you'll need to keep your plants alive when we go through dry spells, so a good watering can. Take note of the end. This is called the rose. Some roses have smaller holes, some bigger holes, and the smaller holes are best for when you've got seeds. What you don't want to do when you're sowing a load of seeds in pots or trays is to use a rose with a big set of holes, or no rose at all, because all that happens is that you wash your seeds away. So a fine rose on the watering can for when you're sowing seeds. So a lot of this kit, it's all pretty inexpensive, and you can also, like I say, with the things like the seed labels, you can just make your own seed labels. Pots, DIY stores and garden centres are frequently giving away pots, so if you're in need of a load of pots, then maybe try there first, and you might find that they're giving a load away. Tools. There's no need to buy all of them all in one go. You can often find that you're able to borrow a spade or a fork, especially if you're not going to use them that often. Okay, I hope that's a useful quick guide to the sort of kit that is useful when you're growing at home. If you've got any questions or comments, please put it in the comment section below. If you want to find out more about our project, then have a look at the description.